Hi everyone, I'm Kristen from Cabin Creations in Phillips, Wisconsin, here to share another great children's book with you today at Stories at the Store. I'm going to read a classic to you featuring one Northwoods animal, and I hope that you will stick with us, follow along, and enjoy the story. Today's story is called The Kissing Hand, and this is a book that was written in 1993. So for those of you who are working with math, we need to take 2020, that's our year now, minus 1993, and this book is 27 years old, so it's almost as old as I am. And it's a really great story that has some raccoons in it. So I have a little raccoon friend here who's gonna join me in my scarf as I read today. All right, so this is The Kissing Hand. So I'm going to read it to you. At the top it says it's the New York Times #1 bestseller. So the New York Times is a newspaper, and each week they come up with best-selling books. And if your book makes it at the top of that list, that means it's a really well-written and well-illustrated book that has a really good message. So this is one of those stories. That means it's won a bunch of awards because it's really good. So The Kissing Hand. The author's name is Audrey Penn, and there are two different illustrators, which means the people who drew the pictures, Ruth Harper and Nancy Leake. This is a hardcover book, but it has regular paper pages in it. We also have the board book version of this book, but it doesn't have all of the text that the regular book has because it's a smaller version. So this has the complete story. The board book has an abbreviated story. All right. Sometimes in the beginning of a children's book or a regular book, there's something called a dedication. And a lot of times when authors are writing books, they have help from other people. Sometimes it's help being creative. Maybe they're stuck with an idea. Maybe it's help coming up with the picture or how something looks, or maybe it's help doing some research and finding some facts. So sometimes in the front of the book, you'll see the dedication. This one, it says, "To Stephanie Rebecca Corin and children everywhere who love to be loved." Sometimes people dedicate the books to their family and their friends and their kids too. All right. Chester Raccoon stood at the edge of the forest and cried. "I don't want to go to school," he told his mother. "I want to stay home with you. I want to play with my friends and play with my toys and read my books and swing on my swing. May I please stay home with you?" Mrs. Raccoon took Chester by the hand and nuzzled him on the ear. "Sometimes we all have to do the things we don't want to do," she told him gently, "even if they seem strange and scary at first. But you will love school once you start." You'll make new friends and play with new toys, read new books, and swing on new swings. Besides, she added, I know a wonderful secret that will make your nights at school seem warm and cozy as your days at home. Chester wiped away his tears and looked interested. "A secret? What kind of secret?" "A very old secret," said Mrs. Raccoon. "I learned it from my mother, and she learned it from hers. It's called the kissing hand." "The kissing hand?" asked Chester. "What's that?" "I'll show you." Mrs. Raccoon took Chester's left hand and spread open his tiny fingers into a fan. Leaning forward, she kissed Chester right in the middle of his palm. Chester felt his mother's kiss rush from his hand, up his arm, and into his heart. Even his silky black mask tingled with special warmth. Mrs. Raccoon smiled. "Now," she told Chester, "whenever you feel lonely and need a little loving from home, Just press your hand on your cheek and think, Mommy loves you. Mommy loves you. And that very kiss will jump to your face and fill you with toasty, warm thoughts. She took Chester's hand and carefully wrapped his finger around the kiss. Now, do be careful not to lose it, she teased him. But don't worry, when you open your hand and wash your food, I promise the kiss will stick. The kiss will stick even when we do our 20 seconds of hand washing. Chester loved his kissing hand. Now he knew his mother's love would go with him wherever he went, even to school. That night, Chester stood in front of his school and looked thoughtfully. Suddenly, he turned to his mother and grinned. Give me your hand, he told her. Chester took his mother's hand in his own and unfolded her large, familiar fingers into a fan. Next, he leaned forward and kissed the center of her hand. Now you have a kissing hand too, he told her. And with a gentle goodbye and I love you, Chester turned and danced away. Mrs. Raccoon watched Chester scamper across a tree limb and enter school. And as a hoot owl rang the new school year, she pressed her left hand to her cheek and smiled. The warmth of Chester's kiss filled her heart. And special words. Chester loves you, it sang. Chester loves you. There's all the kids at their school. Animal school up in a tree. I see a bunny and a fox. There's Chester. There's a bunny, another little bunny, a frog, a mouse, a bird, a baby fawn. There's another bunny. Up here we've got a mouse. Oh, and some possums. There's lots of animals at that school. And the last page says, I love you. And there's even some stickers on here that say the kissing hand. So, I know that right now, sometimes things can be a little bit scary. And maybe you guys were scared if you've been to school. That first day of school was a little scary. Or maybe even the first day of your next grade, first day of kindergarten and first grade. And as you got older, it can be a little scary. And even sometimes I'm scared to try new things. Sometimes I go new places. I'm not quite sure what to expect. But we can remember our friends and our family and our parents and know that they're with us even if they're not, and that they're thinking about us too when we're not there, and that it will be okay, and that sometimes trying something new and fun brings us lots of other fun and new things too. Now this book, The Kissing Hand, is now part of a series, and a series means that there are other books with the same characters but different stories. So there are other books that you can check out from a library like ours here in Phillips or your own public libraries. When those libraries are open, you can check those out and read some other stories about our little friend Chester. All right, that's it for our story today. Thank you so much for watching with me, and I can't wait to see you again at Stories at the Store here at Cabin Creations. Thanks for watching.